Let me tell you why I do not want a girlfriend. Before we get into this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to learn more about self-development, dating, and how to reduce suffering in life. Let's get into it. Now, a lot of adolescents actively seek relationships and, romantic and sexual partners. I think there are many reasons for it, and I will go through the three sort of core reasons why adolescents seek relationships. The media and movies. There's a salient common theme in movies of young people hooking up, and love stories are, everywhere. Young people consume this media obviously in large quantities. Now, like a very obvious channel is TikTok. If you watch TikTok videos, it's quite funny because a lot of them perpetuate a theme of how cute couples are and how fun life is with a partner. They capitalize on young people desiring and seeking relationships, or really urging for a relationship. And people are fed with the idea that alone they are living a suboptimal life, and hence they essentially need a partner in order to have fun. Hence they learn to depend on others in order to live a cool or the right life. Besides TikTok, besides a lot of TikTok videos entail quite relatively sexual content. If you evaluate, let's say, the dance moves that trend on TikTok, they mostly include sexual gestures and sexy dance moves. And most young teenagers consume TikTok, so these young people grow up with this sexed up content, and of course TikTokers are glorified and they're sort of role models, and people want to be like that, hence they're encouraged to sex themselves up and are taught to sort of chase that sex appeal. Second reason is insecurity. Of course, a lot of young people are insecure. What do you expect? As an adolescent, you are uncertain about so many things in your life, like your style, your sexuality, what friend group you want to hang out with, if you're good looking or not. And the quickest way to hide or run from an insecurity is to find a partner who can fill the void within you, can fill the hole within you. Someone who can tell you how awesome, how pretty, how intelligent you are, even if you're not. And someone will solve your problems for you. Someone who can manipulate and guilt trip you into spending more time with them, or someone you can manipulate and guilt trip into spending more time with you so you're not lonely, and make you feel more worthy. A partner can be essentially validation for your existence because, as humans, we're sort of primed to reproduce, and you can only reproduce with a sexual partner. And that's biologically might be a goal of life. And if you have a partner, it validates your existence because it says your genes are good enough to propagate and populate. Yeah. And besides, within the human psychology, there is I think a root of suffering stems from the lonely existence and the detached existence we have. Humans, when humans are born, when they're babies, at first they do not recognize that they are separate entities from the rest of the world. But as they grow up, they start to realize that they are alone and they are responsible for their own existence. If the baby cries, the mother won't always be there in an instant to feed the baby. It recognizes that it is dependent on others and really quite isolated from the rest of the world in its own responsibility and its limited existence and its suffering, and that death is looming. And that's quite a frightening realization. However, when you grow up, that feeling of loneliness is still present, and the best way, a quick way to get rid of that loneliness is to get into a relationship, and you sort of merge your responsibility with someone else's. You are no longer responsible, or you can make someone else responsible for your well-being, which is well done or can easily be applied in a relationship, because you sort of make the other person responsible for how you're feeling, and of course, the other person will want to make you feel good, and you can capitalize on that. And yeah, you can, in the short term, temporarily fix this feeling of alone and loneliness. And thirdly, a reason is, I think, pornography. Try and find an 18-year-old guy who doesn't watch pornography regularly. good luck. Watching porn regularly over longer periods of time, over years, creates expectations for guys, and they want to have sex, they want to live what they watch, and hence they chase a partner. Now, the problem with being in a relationship at a young age is that you don't work on yourself and improve the root of your insecurities. You continue to fill the void within you temporarily with your partner. But whilst you're doing that, the void is not being fixed permanently. You're not permanently solving the problem of your inadequacy, feelings of inadequacy. Your insecurities are not being improved. You're not working on the root of your issues. And that's dangerous, because when you leave the relationship, if you ever do, you'll really fall flat on your face. You likely won't be able to convince yourself that you're a valuable human being. Your confidence and self-esteem will be nowhere, because you always derived your self-value from your partner who isn't there anymore. And you've been so accustomed to relying on your partner who makes you feel good that you don't know how to fix your own problems independently. And this is what I realized myself. I had my first relationship a few months ago. I mean, it only lasted 3 months, but it was a solid, legitimate relationship. However, I started to derive, my ex-girlfriend was relatively good looking, and I started to derive my self-value from her, because I was like, well, I can get this good looking person, that means I must be valuable. And I always derived my value from her, and I became jealous, and there was a lot of ego involved in the relationship, and I could tell it was the same for her, and that's unhealthy. And I thought, okay, I'm not going to be able to fix this necessarily within the relationship, or it'll be quite difficult. And I actually broke up with her by accident, my mistake, and it really, really hit me, because I was suddenly hit with the confrontation that I would be alone again, and I would need to be self-reliant, and I wouldn't have, my self-value would be in question again, even though that was my first relationship ever, and I always considered myself to be very independent, but I suddenly realized that I'm not. And I realized once I got out of the relationship, if I don't fix my insecurities myself, the next relationship is bound to be characterized by the same unhealthy dynamic. Hence, I need to fix myself before I can get in a relationship. So before I do that, I do not want a girlfriend, because it will also delay me fixing myself. I want to grow enough that I can really provide a high level of value to my future partner and family. I know it sounds cliche, but before I can truly love someone else, I first need to truly love and fix myself. And true love is, real love, this is a really potent definition, is the desire for somebody else to grow spiritually, mentally, and physically. That's true love. It has nothing to, all other definitions of love are intertwined with ego and insecurities. This definition is the cleanest you can find, I think. Because what you're saying is, okay, you desire for somebody else to grow spiritually, mentally, and physically. And that would also entail, if they break up with you, if you really love them and breaking up with you would be the best thing for them, you would be okay with it, because you know it would help them grow. But most people obviously won't accept that. They don't want to be broken up with or be left hanging, because they're dependent on you and it will hurt their ego. But this kind of love, that's to be strived for. But in order to be able to give that kind of pure love, you have to have purged the unhealthy energy and the wounds, the insecurities within you. Young people need to be aware of this trap. It's dangerous to get into long-term relationships at a young age, and the likelihood of somebody having fixed themselves at a young age is so unlikely that I think in my eyes, one can make this like a general rule for adolescents. And I've seen it happen in a friend who has plateaued in his self-development. This friend is deeply, deeply insecure, probably the most insecure person I've ever met. And this person was in a long-term relationship all throughout their teenage years and broke up 2 years ago, and then after 6 months got into a new long-term relationship. So there was no room for them to focus on fixing themselves and developing this long-term permanent level of self-esteem. And then when you get out of these relationships at a young age, after having been in one in a long time, you rebound into another relationship because you don't know how to take care of yourself, because you're so used to deriving your value from someone else and having somebody else who fixes your own problems. Now, in conclusion, I don't want a girlfriend because I still need to fix myself. I'm still quite a flawed human being. I still have a lot of insecurities that need to be rooted and brought into consciousness so I can understand and try and transcend them. Because before that, I will not be able to give and show true love to a partner or the people around me. So I don't know when I will be able to fix myself or when at that point will be achieved, but I still want to at least be in a trajectory of self-improvement. And because I don't want a girlfriend, because I will just get used to this instant gratification of helping or using them to fix my own problems and like being a quick fix for my insecurities and self-value. And I just don't, it's not the right thing to do, I think. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to learn more about self-development, dating, and how to reduce suffering in life. Thank you for listening.